Hi cruisers, my name is Alexis and I am so excited to bring you this new series on my channel all about the beginning stages of cruising. So whether it's your first cruise, your second cruise, or you're a seasoned cruiser, I hope that you'll get something out of this channel. Or if you really are a super seasoned experienced cruiser, maybe you can help out in the comments with your tips, tricks, and advice. But my goal for this channel is to really break down the cruising process from start to finish for a very new type A type of traveler, because that's me. And I was nervous when I was beginning my cruise journey like 3 years ago. So for this video, I would like to introduce myself, give you a rundown of my cruising history, and maybe we'll throw in a few tips there at the end. So let's get started. So as I said, my name is Alexis. I am 28 years old. I live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I feel very fortunate to have been born and raised in Western Washington, in just an area of extreme natural beauty and wonder. I live here with my fiance and our 3 cats. We are very happy. We love spending time outdoors. We try to go to the beach and walk outside in nature as often as possible. We love to travel. Our relationship really started with travel, but we didn't start cruising until, like I said, 3 years ago. Very experienced traveler, but I'd never cruised before. And in fact, that's what I'm gonna tell you about right now, my cruising journey. So let's start before I actually booked and went on my first cruise. What was my impression of cruising? To be honest, it wasn't very positive. I had a lot of preconceived notions about what cruising was going to be like and how I was going to enjoy it. I did not think I was going to enjoy it. I thought, I don't know, I just thought it was not going to be up my alley at all. I'd been told by people close to me that I wouldn't enjoy cruising, that it wasn't going to be like my thing. And so I never had considered it. We've traveled plane, train, automobile, bus, all different kinds of and modes of transportation and types of travel in the 9 years that we've been together. And before that, growing up, I grew up in a family that prioritized travel as well. So I'd been a lot of places, I'd seen a lot of things, I'd traveled extensively. And I just never considered cruising. In 2016, my then best friend was going on a cruise at the end of the year with her family, and they needed an additional passenger. And she asked if I would be interested in joining her. Having all that said, what I just mentioned about my impression of cruising, I was very resistant to the idea. I thought, at first I thought, no, I don't think I'm gonna like cruising. But the more I thought about it, something really just told me, something deep inside said, you need to give this a shot. Like, try it. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? You're going to Mexico. Like, it's not gonna be fun, you know? So I threw caution to the wind and I booked the trip and we went. And between booking and sail away, I did so much research. I scoured the internet for tips and tricks. I love learning from YouTube. I'm an audio visual learner, so I watched every video I could possibly find on YouTube on the subject. I considered myself a very educated first-time cruiser. But no matter how much preparation I did, I found that that first cruise was like a whirlwind. It went by so fast. We tried everything. We tried to be everywhere at all times to like maximize every possible moment aboard the ship. And ultimately we had a great time, but I came home thinking, what just happened? I still don't quite get what cruising is all about. Like, I want to know more. I want to do that again. And so doing all that research, I'd learned about all the mass market cruise lines. So the first cruise was with Princess Cruise from Los Angeles to the Mexican Riviera, hitting the ports of Cabo San Lucas, Mazatlan, and Puerto Vallarta. And I came home and I'd heard all about loyalty and deciding what cruise line is for you. And I thought, what better way to learn about cruising than to have an apples to apples experience. So I booked another cruise from Los Angeles to the Mexican Riviera, hitting those 3 ports again, but this time on a Carnival ship. So in October of 2017, I went on my second cruise, and this time I went with my sister. So what was so exciting about this cruise was that I got exposed to a whole different style of cruising because my sister had a very different approach to her cruising experience than I did. And I learned that it's all okay. So the first cruise I went on with my very close friend, she and I had a very similar style. We enjoyed going out. We enjoyed meeting people, being busy, being out and about on the ship, talking to and meeting people. My sister had a much more introverted style of cruising. She loved hanging out in the stateroom. To me, I kept checking in with her like, are you having a good time? Because to me, I was like, she's not enjoying it. She's not doing how I do. And then I realized that's the joy of cruising. Everyone gets to have the experience they want to have. So that was what was really great about that cruise. Also, I got to try Carnival, which I really enjoyed. So in March of 2018, I dragged my fiance along on a Norwegian cruise from Los Angeles to the Mexican Riviera, again hitting the stops of Cabo San Lucas, Mazatlan, and Puerto Vallarta. And that was great. And what was great about coming home from that cruise is that he had a really good time. So I knew that like I could get him on board again. The fourth cruise we went on was actually in January of this year. The fourth cruise I went on, his second cruise was in January of this year. We went on a Carnival ship to the Western Caribbean. This one left the port of New Orleans. So what was exciting about this one was it was our first time together on a new line. So we went on Carnival. Well, it was new for him. It was our first time sailing out of the East Coast, both of us, because I'd never done that. It was his first time in New Orleans. And it was our first time getting sick on a cruise. And that really was not my favorite part of that cruise, unfortunately. And it was not like norovirus. It was not, I don't blame the ship at all. I blame traveling cross country during cold and flu season, the beginning of the first week of January. It was like right after New Year's. Flew to New Orleans, got on board the ship, and within like 2 or 3 days, we were like out, like out. So that was a big bummer about that cruise because I feel like we really didn't experience everything to the fullest extent. We only got to spend 1 day in port. There were 3 port days in that trip. We did go into port 1 other day, but that was just to like try and find medicine. We were so sick. We had a good beach day in Cozumel. Loved experiencing the Dream because that was a bigger ship. A ship that had more bells and whistles than a lot of the ones that come to Los Angeles, unfortunately. But it was great. Overall, it was great. It was really fun to experience New Orleans. We met some great people on the ship who really took good care of us and helped provide some medicines when we didn't have any. But it was a bummer that we were sick on that one. Ian is now like fully on board with being a cruiser, which is, you know, the goal. So our next cruise, we actually haven't taken yet. This will be our 5th cruise, my 5th cruise, Ian's 3rd cruise, and our first cruise on Holland America line, which we're so excited about. This one is leaving on Saturday, May 4th, from the port of Seattle, and we're going to Alaska, and we're so excited about this. I mean, what's so exciting about this one is, yes, it's a new line for both of us, Holland America. Like, I'm very excited to see how this one goes. But 2, it's sailing out of our home port, which I'm so excited about because we actually don't live, if you're familiar with the state of Washington, we live on the Olympic Peninsula. So we don't live on the side of Western Washington where Seattle is. We live on the Olympic Peninsula in an area, in fact, that when the cruises head out to sea to Alaska, we can see them from our town. And so I'm so excited. I'm most excited about seeing my town from the perspective of the cruise ship, and like seeing that whole passage out. So all the places that we see all the time, even from, you know, Washington State ferries, which is cool. Those are big boats, but they're not the same as a cruise ship. I'm just so excited about that. So yeah. We're really excited to go to Alaska. So that's my cruise history. That's the journey that I've been on. I feel like I have a diverse range of experience having been on these different lines that really helps inform me about like the overall cruising experience. I'm still consider myself a newcomer to the cruise world. But I've done a ton of research and I do have experience on cruise ships. So I also remember being that newer cruiser who had a lot of questions about like how this whole thing was going to work, what we were going to do, what I could expect on the ships. And despite watching tons and tons of content, I still didn't have a great understanding of it until I got on the ship. And that's actually going to be the piece of advice that I'm going to include in this video. Understand that your first cruise very well may be an experiment in cruising, to like figure out what you like, what you don't like, what you want to do on your cruises, because I think that's just very often is the case. So go into it with an open mind, an open heart, open ears, open eyes, excitement and enthusiasm, but also like knowing that like you're figuring it out. You're kind of learning this whole thing, because it is a style of travel and vacationing like all on its own. So that is going to be where I'm going to leave this one. This looks like a good place to pick up anchor and move on. And I will see you in my next video, which I hope to be just a little bit about what I just really love about cruising. I hope to inspire you to book your first cruise, or if you're already booked, tell me where you're going and when in the comments below. If you have any questions about cruising to like help motivate some ideas here, help me understand what kind of content you're looking for, that would be so appreciated. Leave that below. Feel free to subscribe and like this video, and I will very excitedly see you in the next one. Bye guys.